Welcome, everyone. My name is Dr. Laura Cohen, and I'm the Executive Director of the Harriet and Kenneth Kupferberg Holocaust Center at Queensborough Community College at the City University of New York in Bayside, Queens. Our mission is to use the lessons of the Holocaust to educate current and future generations about the ramifications of prejudice, racism, and stereotyping. We're excited to present today's program entitled A Prisoner's Voice, Poetry of Psychological Resistance, featuring a special performance of Farewell Auschwitz. It's based on the poetry of Krystyna Zawolska, which she wrote at the Auschwitz-Birkenau extermination and concentration camp between 1943 and 1945. The performance features music by Jake Heggie, Jennifer Glier soprano, Roswell mezzo-soprano, Stephen Dahlke baritone, and Myrna Lekic piano. After the performance, the artist will have some time to answer a few questions, so please be sure to submit them via the Q&A button on your screen, since we've disabled the chat for security purposes. The KHC also recently hosted a lecture with Dr. Barbara Maluski from Swarthmore College about Krystyna Zawolska's poetry. You can find the link to that as well as all the KHC's programs on our website, and we'll be sure to include those in the chat for you. Today's event is part of the KHC's 2020 National Endowment for the Humanities Colloquium entitled Internment and Resistance, Confronting Mass Detention and Dehumanization. It's presented in partnership with the Queensborough Performing Arts Center and the Nancy and David Wolf Holocaust and Humanities Center in Cincinnati. It's also connected to the KHC's virtual exhibition, The Concentration Camps, Inside the Nazi System of Incarceration and Genocide. Now, to kick things off, please join me in welcoming Dr. Stephen Dahlke, one of this year's faculty fellows. Dr. Dahlke received his DMA from the University of Southern California and is Associate Professor of Music at Queensborough Community College at the City University of New York. He conducts research on effective education and has published in the American Choral Directors Association, Choral Journal, and Choreteach. He was the 2014 co-recipient of the KHC NEH Colloquium, where he led a multidisciplinary project on student testimony about oppression and genocide. His findings from that colloquium were published in the edited volume produced by the KHC entitled Humanistic Pedagogy Across the Disciplines, Approaches to Mass Atrocity Education in the Community College Context. Dr. Dahlke has appeared as baritone soloist with the Oregon Symphony Orchestra and the Oregon Repertory Singers, the Seattle Symphony Pops, several orchestras and philharmonics in Portland, the Reinman Opera Theater at New York University, and the Aspen Music Festival. I'd like to turn things over to you, Dr. Dahlke.
Thank you, Laura. It's good to see you, and it's good to be here with everyone today. It seems to me that our job here is to continue to make connections, to understand what it means in so many different ways to be oppressed, to feel like one's freedom is curtailed through imprisonment or any other kind of persecution. It's a very small thing, but I think about it ever so slightly today in that I decided to come out here into my living room to talk to you today instead of the small office, which I know I am blessed to have, where I normally do the Zoom work that I do for my online teaching. And coming out of that small room reminds me of the tiny bit of curtailment that I feel being in that small room instead of out in the world. And it's just another way that every day I try to remember how inhumane human beings can be to one another and how we can, in so many different ways and for so many ridiculous reasons, try to take freedoms away from one another. So today we're exploring the songs of Farewell Auschwitz. And if you pardon me for a moment, I will share my screen. Farewell Auschwitz is an act of resistance through art. The music is written of this song cycle by Jake Heggie, who is best known for his opera Dead Man Walking on the memoirs of Sister Helen Prejean. The lyrics that we will hear today are translations of Krystyna's poetry written by Jean Shear, translated freely by Jean Shear. Here's a picture of Krystyna. She was not an artistic or particularly creative person before she was imprisoned in Auschwitz in 1943. She was imprisoned as a political prisoner, though she was also Jewish. She hid her her identity as a means of self-preservation. And she wrote her poetry while imprisoned as a way of fighting back psychologically with a mixture of satire and humor and stark realism to express what life was like for a prisoner at Auschwitz. Her poems came to the attention of some of the guards, and one of the guards who assigned Christina's work duties assigned her to the job of taking care of prisoners' personal effects, which was a job that afforded her enough freedom to perhaps be able to survive. And she was able to survive Auschwitz, and as you see, she lived on until 1993. And she is best known for her book, her memoirs, I Survived Auschwitz. Christina not only wrote these poems, but she thought of snippets of popular music that might go with the poems and even created bits of music herself. It was a massive output of expression that is a great testimony to what life was like in the camps. This also reminds me of what it's like for all of us who are performing here for you today. We performed in a Zoom setting, and we are very grateful for Andre Bregagere of the Queensborough Community College music faculty who did all the editing. Dr. Mira Lekic, who plays the piano in this performance, sent each of us singers, Dr. Jennifer Glier, soprano, Dr. H. Roswell, mezzo-soprano, sent each of us tracks to sing with, and all of these different video snippets and audio snippets were put together by Andre. And my point here is that it was a very disconnected thing to do, though we find that it creates a connection when we hear it for the first time with all of you today. And it reminds me, at least, of what it's like to be expressive or to even try to live in some sort of isolation, in a situation where your freedom and your voice is curtailed. And I think there's some poignancy to that, in that that is the experience that Christina and millions of others had to experience while they were imprisoned. So without any further ado, I think it's time to move on to our performance. But before I want to do that, I want to remind everyone that we were inspired today to perform this by the work of Dr. Barbara Maluski from Swarthmore College. She presented her scholarly work on the poetry of Christina Zawolska here at QCC in a fall symposium as part of the Kupferberg Holocaust Center's offerings. So we want to thank Barbara Maluski for that. I know that a video of that symposium is available to view now. So I want to say thank you, everyone, for being here. A special thanks to our singers and to Dr. Laura Cohen for inviting us to sing for you today, to all of you for being here with us and listening, and for Andre Bregagere again for his very important editing work.
För Annie Marian
From all of those with whom she shared the good and the bad,
and whom she helped to endure.
we dedicate
This
song.
Just paper and a pencil and poetry above all. Poetry. Letters are the only soldiers we need. An alphabet of soldiers. Standing shoulder to shoulder, do not forget us when you get older. Do not forget
Soon I will take you away. Look what has happened. Fate has given me so many diamonds. They're falling out of my pockets, and now I have pictures of you in hundreds of gold lockets. Soon, soon I will take you away, but not yet. Today is not the day. A bit longer we have to wait. Or haven't we been blessed by fate? Soon, look what has happened. Fate has given me so many diamonds. They're falling out of my pockets, and now I have pictures of you in hundreds of gold lockets. Soon, soon, but not yet, not yet, not yet.
I sat in the barracks playing solitaire. It was forbidden. I did not care. Lost in the cards I did not see. When John suddenly came up to me. You'll have to pay for this, you fool. You know the rule. You know the rule, you fool, you fool. 30 minutes kneel on the ground. You'll be watched by the guards. I remember being amazed. I had not seen Schutka types so quickly. Miss Schutka, Miss Schutka, Miss Schutka types so perfectly. With each stroke a longing starts to disappear. How does typing make happiness Oh, Miss Schutka. Oh, Miss Schutka. With each stroke she holds her child, who only cries from joy. It's here that Miss Schutka is in complete control. Miss Schutka remains the captain of her own soul. In the striking of every key, Miss Schutka thinks she's almost. Oh, Miss Schutka. The sun is warming me,
Take off your striped clothes, kick off your clogs. Stand with me, hold your shaved head high. The song of freedom upon our lips will never, never die.
Take off your striped clothes, kick off your clothes.
Stand with me,
Stand with me,
hold your shaved head high. The song of freedom upon our lips will never, never. Is it something from which you wake?
nightmare or a fairy tale. No, it really happened. No, we were there, we were there, we were there. Five chimneys, belching smoke, on burning flesh and blood, we'd choke. Yes, it really happened. Yes, we were there, we were there, we were there. Farewell, Auschwitz, and savage Birkenau. When winter winds blow through the empty barracks, our song will linger. Farewell, Auschwitz, and savage Birkenau. When winter winds blow through the empty barracks, our song will linger, and everyone will know. Take off your striped clothes, kick off your clogs. Stand with me, hold your shaved head high. The song of freedom upon our lips will never, never die. Take off your striped clothes, kick off your clogs. Stand with me, hold your shaved head high. The song of freedom upon our lips will never, never die. Take off your striped clothes, kick off your clogs. Stand with me, hold your shaved head high. The song of freedom upon our lips will never, never die.
a good time to say thank you again, everyone, for being here with us today, and to see if there is anyone here who has any questions they would like to ask about this music or the process of performing it virtually. I know a question that would interest me would be to hear from all of our singers about their process. Roz, may I start with you? If you have anything that's you want to share about what it was like to sing this kind of.
It was an honor to learn the music. It was an honor to participate in the project and to reflect on these stories and on Christina and the human beings who wrote these words. And one thing I was thinking about in the song In the Cards, where the person is just playing cards in the barracks and then is criminalized and berated for that, and it felt, in the context of this, it felt like they were terrorized for that. And I was thinking about current circumstances where people are being criminalized and singled out for everyday things because of their quote unquote identity. So I was thinking about that, and it was helpful to just again, consider how we dehumanize each other, and then what are the processes for humanizing each other.
Thanks, Roz. I'm going to turn it over to Myrna. If you're there, let us know, because I see a question about how this was all put together. Were the tracks for the pianos done first, etc.? So if Myrna, if you don't mind throwing out a little bit of, you were the leader in this, in putting it together. So if you're all right with telling us a little bit about it.
Yes, we thought it would make sense to begin by recording the piano portion. And normally these kinds of long distance projects would be easier with repertoire that has kind of moto perpetuo figures. So something like constantly pulsing material. But here you have many styles of music that are combined and very frequent tempo changes and lots of ritardandi, slowing down, speeding up. So doing this required a lot of imagination as I sat there and tried to imagine what each one of you would sound like and how much time would be taken in specific spots. Then once I had put down the piano recording, each singer added their part. So I believe, Stephen, you were the person who recorded some things next, and Jennifer also. And then we sent all these files combined to Roz, who, I don't know how it's really possible to hear your own voice while you're listening to something in your ear and trying to watch my hand motions. But what Dr. Bregeger did was then take all of our submissions and try to put the sound together and then put the videos together and come up with this finished product, which you saw included some slides as well with the text. So it's a very labor intensive and less spontaneous kind of work than what we are used to. But it was also rewarding because we all like this music very much. We think this message is very important today, and as it was before, and as it will be. So I think that's pretty much what I can tell you about the process without getting into technical, details, which is something that Dr. Bregeger would know better.
I think it'll be interesting to turn back to these aspects in a moment, but I have a question from someone whose last name is very familiar to me. It happens to be my brother, who I'm so pleased and honored is here today. He was asking about Zawulska's musical choices and how many of them preserved in this piece. And I know that Jake Heggie took care to, I don't want to use the word imitate, but he wanted to call upon musical styles of the era, particularly from the period in between the wars in Berlin. And I know there's the movement, and Myrna and Jennifer, you may be able to help me with this, Irenka, which was actual music, but I'm just off the top of my head, I'm not remembering the piece. If anyone happens to remember it, I might be able to look it up here while we're all together. Does anyone remember that piece?
It sounded very familiar to me when I was recording it, but I don't remember what the piece was called.
It's Chopin. It's Chopin.
Chopin, yeah.
It's Chopin Waltz, Opus 64, number 2. That's the quote, he uses, the piece he uses as basis for Irenka.
Yes.
And I think that might have been because it's a piece that many of us would recognize, and also because Chopin being a Polish composer like Christina. So I think that was part of the association. And then there is another quotation in Roz's song, right, in the cards, where you hear La Campanella from Liszt's Paganini Etudes. So they were trying to imitate, because these songs would have been sung to music that was familiar to the people in the camps. And so Jay Kagi decided to choose these two pieces, which are easily recognizable.
I have another question here about whether any of us had any personal attachments to these pieces. And I think the right thing to do is just let anybody jump in. Jennifer, Myrna, or Roz, any personal attachment?
I really liked doing Irenka. I thought it was a lot of fun because it says so much that sometimes when our stress levels are so high, and the smallest thing, like somebody taking your chair or eating your last grape or whatever, can just send you over the edge, crying or anger or whatever. And it's under normal circumstances, it's not a big deal. I'll sit elsewhere. I'll sit on the floor. I'll sit on the stairs. But that really spoke to me in that way, because we've all been under those stressful situations, and as you mentioned earlier, Stephen, it's hard to imagine that level of stress. Our pandemic stress is really nothing in comparison.
You take the words out of my mouth. I was just thinking about how it could be humanly possible to persevere under that sort of a weight. I know it was interesting to me to sing Miss Jutka because of the jazzy style, and also that it imitated in the piano this and some of the vocal sounds, the sounds of a typewriter doing its mechanical actions, and as I think Jennifer would say, that's sort of the way that Miss Jutka was able to find some sense of control in her life through her ability to be a master at the typewriter. That piece was also interesting, at least in my experience, because it appeared to move from key to key, and often written enharmonically. So you would see a certain note written down and realize, oh, that's not really a D flat so much as a C sharp in the key of A. And to find one's way from one key to the next and try to feel correct in that, and yet flowing along on whatever euphoria Miss Jutka had in her abilities. I don't want to step on anybody else, so anyone else has an answer to this, just jump in.
You were saying about this feeling of control in typing, and it kind of parallels Christina's writing in the camp, right? That was what she could control. That's where she could find that kind of spiritual resistance to everything that was going on around her. The song that I find really moving is the last one. And this line, yes, it really happened. Was it a dream? And providing this kind of testimony, both in poetry, in music, and tying it into what Roz was saying earlier, the events that are happening in the US that are made real because somebody had documented them.
Exactly. That's a great point to make. Before we go any further, I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. I've done some webinars, but most of my Zoom time is in a classroom setting. I know how to follow chats pretty well, but here we're doing Q&A. So anybody who knows about any question that may have been asked or a hand that may be raised elsewhere, just somehow let me know so I don't miss anything. Let's see. trying to make sure that we've answered everything. We've had a few questions and I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. I know there was someone who asked about whether we were wearing headphones. We just have these little earbuds. I suppose, Roz, that's what you had. And at first I put them both in, but then I realized I couldn't hear myself. And then you just do the one. It's a strange thing. You can't quite attend to what the other singers and the piano are doing at all in the same way. And then to look at Myrna towards the end, which would normally be a con la voce section when the singers sing and then the band or the piano responds. We responded to Myrna, so you have to keep a careful eye on the computer screen, and for various technological reasons, sometimes for some of us that computer screen may have needed to be kind of far away while we're trying to sing. So those are interesting things that make us more aware of what connections we take so for granted. If we had all been together, it would have been a breeze. Right, Roz is nodding. Been a breeze to know out of the corner of our eye which each other was doing, and our ears can take in so much more when we're in an acoustic setting. I think I want to make sure I'm on track with our time. I believe we go from 12 to 1. So we're probably, Laura is here and nodding. Laura, is there anything at all that I've missed that I need to make sure I don't?
No, you haven't. And I just wanted to just reflect. I mean, it's been really moving to hear and watch and feel the music and the poetry and the emotion that all of you have put into this. And I want to just say first, thank you. And I've also just been reflecting on some of Christina's poetry, and there were a few lines, did it happen? Did it happen? And the point about bearing witness. I mean, I remember the first time I went to Srebrenica in Bosnia and Herzegovina, which is where the 1995 genocide happened, and I was on a peace march. And as we were coming out of the mountain, the very first thing I saw was the cemetery filled with over 8,000 graves. And in that moment, I wondered what it must have been like for people to be screaming and suffering and no one else to be present, and wondering how you tell that story. And I was wondering, if you could reflect a little on what it means to bear witness and speaking out. I mean, Christina Zwolska has, her work is about resistance and documentation, but also activism.
Jennifer, you're the soprano. Do you want to go first? If you're there.
I'm here.
Sopranos go first.
Obviously. Just a quick answer to Mr. Riggs's last question. This piece was written in 2013. And the idea of bearing witness, I have a Jewish background myself. So it means a lot to be able to bring that kind of thing forward and to be able to tell people that, yes, this is still affecting us, and it affected, my grandparents' generation, but it's still around, and there are increasingly few numbers of people who remember this, but it's so important for their stories to be told and for us to look at it and remember it and go, oh my word. So we have, as we've all mentioned so far, first world problems. I mean, can you imagine? It's like the American Civil War, where there was not one person who was not affected by the Civil War. There is not one, was not in the 1940s in the Jewish community, I would imagine, not one person who was not affected by what happened. And that's important to remember, especially as we have fewer and fewer people to talk about it with.
Roz, I want to make sure if you need anything to say, please do go ahead.
Just again, that I think speaking up is a sacred act in a sense. And so this is a way of being sacred about these stories and singing. I think the line in the last song about hold your head up, hold your shaved head high. There's a call to dignity there, despite what feels like a dehumanizing situation. And I think the opportunity to enter into that experience and tell that story is a metaphor for just how we can communicate with each other in any conflict. Just being able to enter into someone else's truth and hear that and be able to speak your own truth is just something not to be taken for granted. And I feel like we all need more practice, myself included, in that. So I appreciate the opportunity to do that.
That's a great way of putting it, practicing. Myrna, how about you? If you have anything at all?
I just think the arts are a perfect medium, for reaching people with this kind of information. I remember when we implement some assignments in the music courses that are paired with the offerings in the Kupferberg Holocaust Center. The response from the students is always that they can much better understand what has happened, can understand the other, because the information was conveyed through music in this sense. So
Thanks. I know how important it is for me personally to move beyond sympathy and try to live more in the realm of empathy, as I think Roz would say, by practicing what it's like to bear witness and be as if oneself was in that moment. I know yesterday when the verdict was read out, my first thought was how I reacted. And then I saw on the TV screen how members of the African-American community were reacting. And I thought, what would that be like? Can I put myself in the shoes of individuals who had felt so underrepresented and whose voices had felt so unheard for generations? And I feel like a pretty smart man. And so that means many of us still have so much practicing to do to keep actively empathic. So I guess as it's 1 o'clock, it's probably the right time to say thank you again. And I'm going to turn it over, if it's the right thing to do, to Dr. Cohen for our last words.
Thank you so much, everyone. I mean, I've just been, like I said before, just very moved. And yes, I think this has taken on, especially today, a new significance in the wake of the verdict, and recognizing that often, even when there's proof, visual proof, that always doesn't necessarily mean justice will be served. Maybe accountability might occur, which has happened yesterday. And that's the importance of this work, and not just always focusing on discussions about it, but the power of the arts, the power of peace building, the power of empathy, the power of really processing this in our bodies so that we can all treat each other with a little bit more civility. So I remain hopeful. Dr. Dalkey, thank you. Roz, thank you. Dr. Lekich, thank you. Jennifer, thank you. Thank you to everyone who's attended today. We're very, very grateful, and we will see you soon. Be safe, be well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.